In a matter of 5 minutes, I found out that 3 of my siblings, they were all 3 gone.
I could not have dreamed up anything worse. I mean, these were my 3 babies. Lindy,
She was 20,
Christopher was 17.
and Kamryn was my 15-year-old sister.
they were remarkable people in their short time here on earth. The day of the crash, Christopher had a basketball game about 4 hours from where we lived. So we took off that day, went to his basketball game. We stopped at Subway after the game and started to head home. A drunk driver hit his head on, doing between 80 and 90 miles per hour.
I knew my mom and my siblings were going to the basketball game. I was at a Christmas party that night. It was 10:29 when my phone rang, and it was my dad calling. He said, "Hey, mom's been in a wreck. It doesn't look good, but they said she's stable." I grabbed my husband, we jumped in my car. The whole way to the hospital, I was worried about my mom. The kids never even crossed my mind that they might have been severely injured. They're young, they're healthy. To me, they're invincible. I went to the front desk at the hospital and asked if my mom was there and if my siblings were there, and they told me only my mom was there. And I was just so confused, like, where would they be if they weren't at the hospital? We started calling local hospitals. The state trooper that was on the phone with my dad told him that most likely they were at a hospital closest to the crash. So I headed out that way. Well, I got to the hospital and I found a nurse, and I said, "I'm looking for my sister." I showed him a picture of both girls, Lindy and Kamryn, and he said, "Come to the back." And I walked into a hospital room, and the nurse unzipped the body bag, and I saw that it was her, my 15-year-old sister. So at this point, I really went into fight or flight. I needed to know where the other ones were. My mother-in-law asked that nurse if he could please make some calls. He came back in the room a couple minutes later and he said, "I found your brother. He is at Bunkie General." And I said, "Oh, thank God, at least he's alive." And he shook his head no. And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Well, what about my sister? The one that was driving?" He said, "She's still stuck in the car. They trying to get her out." And I said, "Well, is she alive?" And he was like, "Oh no." In a matter of 5 minutes, I found out that they were all 3 gone.
I didn't find out till 2 days later that I had lost the kids in the crash. I was really in critical condition. After I had the first surgery on one of my legs, the doctors had given the family the okay to tell me. Katie came into the room and I looked at her dead in her eyes and I said, "Katie, where are the kids?" And she said, "They're gone." And I said, "All of them?" And she said, "Yes, Mom, I'm so sorry." The family that we had, that family died that night.
There is nothing in my life that is untouched. Our life, nearly 2 years down the road, is still just as hard as our life 1 week after.
I'm sure the man who did this to my kids didn't start out his day saying, "I think I'm gonna get drunk, go drive, and kill 3 beautiful teenagers today." But it happens that fast, and you cannot go back. We just want to continue to tell their story and educate people, and if it makes even a couple people make a better decision, then it's worth everything that we're doing. I do not want another family to have to go through this.
I am seen.
Are you?